There is no denying that Saudi Arabian football shot to global relevance overnight with the transfer of one of the biggest names in the game, Cristiano Ronaldo, from Manchester United to Al-Nassr in December 2022. In the weeks following his arrival, the league's matches were watched by millions of viewers around the world, many of whom had never watched the league before. Ronaldo's presence in the league has also helped to raise the profile of Saudi Arabia as a sporting destination, and the kingdom is now seen as a viable option for top players looking for a new challenge. Indeed, this week, Ronaldo's former teammate Karim Benzema has also made the move to Saudi Arabian club Al-Ittihad. Chelsea's N'Golo Kanté has also reportedly agreed to join the party, as well as Sergio Busquets, Gabonese striker Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang, and Ronaldo's longtime rival Lionel Messi are other star names who could be on their way. Saudi Arabia has also announced plans to privatize top domestic clubs, all of which are part of Crown Prince Bin-Salman's audacious billion-dollar sports clubs investment and privatization project, which aligns with the country's Vision 2030 goals to elevate the sporting scene in the kingdom globally. What do the privatization of top domestic clubs and the influx of high-profile international players to Saudi Arabian football signify for the future of the sport in both Saudi Arabia and globally, and what implications does it have for traditional football powerhouses and their dominance in the sport? Hello and welcome. This is Rain Smith, and you are watching the New Africa channel. On Monday, Saudi Arabia's sports ministry announced on Twitter that the kingdom's public investment fund will take control of 4 of the kingdom's top football clubs. The public investment fund will now own 75% of Al-Ittihad, Al-Ahly, Al-Hilal, and Ronaldo's Al-Nassr, all of which are in the top-flight Saudi professional league, except Al-Ahly, which is in the second-tier Saudi First Division. The clubs, which have technically been owned by the country's Ministry of Sport until now, are being privatized as part of a government initiative to help the sport further develop. The government has earmarked the process as necessary if the league can achieve its aim of becoming one of the top 10 in the world. The best European competitions are full of privately owned clubs, and the privatization plan launched by Crown Prince Bin-Salman wants to copy this by allowing companies and development agencies to invest in and take over clubs. The privatization is in line with Saudi Arabia's Vision 2030, a strategic framework to reduce Saudi Arabia's dependence on oil and diversify the economy. Sports, mainly football, is one of the key pillars of Saudi Arabia's diversification goal, and the plan is to incentivize the private sector to help with the local sports industry's growth. Also, the project aims to raise the league's commercial revenues from $120 million in 2022 to over $480 million annually and increase the market value of the Saudi Pro League to more than $2.1 billion. All this would be made possible through the Public Investment Fund, the sovereign wealth fund of Saudi Arabia, with total estimated assets of US $620 billion. The Public Investment Fund already led a consortium to buy Premier League side Newcastle United in October 2021 to raise the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia's global football standing. But privatization and club acquisitions aren't the only strategies Bin Salman is funding through the Public Investment Fund to transform Saudi Arabia into a global football powerhouse in the years ahead. The Middle Eastern nation will also leverage its huge sovereign wealth fund to lure some of football's biggest names like Karim Benzema, N'Golo Kanté, Lionel Messi, Jordi Alba, Roberto Firmino, Wilfried Zaha, Hugo Lloris, and Sergio Busquets to join Cristiano Ronaldo in the Saudi Premier League. If Messi accepts the current contract he has from Al-Hilal, he will have the most lucrative contract in football history, earning more than 1.5 billion euros in the next 2 years from the Saudi government. This is possible because, unlike the Premier League and other European teams, Saudi clubs are not bound by UEFA's rules on spending, meaning there is no limit to the salaries the Public Investment Fund can offer to lure top players to the Middle East. Also, according to The Times, the league would work differently than the rest of Europe in that signings would be centralized with the league rather than the teams. This means that clubs cannot acquire talent on their own, but must collaborate with the league and potentially have players assigned to them. For instance, Public Investment Fund is determined to provide a fair share to the 4 privatized clubs to recruit at least 3 world-class stars for the 2023 to 2024 season. The 3 stars consist of 1 Class A star with a contract value of over 200 million euros and 2 other stars with a maximum contract limit of 100 million euros. While this is clearly a genius move by Saudi Arabia to transform itself into a global football powerhouse, there are others who aren't so convinced, accusing the Western Asian kingdom of sports washing, a term for using sports as a means to cover atrocities and injustices. Saudi Arabia has faced incessant criticism regarding many human rights violations against women and the LGBTQ+ community, on top of many allegations of the kingdom silencing its critics, most notably the controversy surrounding the government's alleged murder of US-based journalist Jamal Khashoggi. Whether you support Saudi Arabia or not, one thing is clear: in football, change can come quickly. A few months ago, the idea of Ronaldo and Messi playing every week in Jeddah and Riyadh would have been laughed at. Therefore, if Saudi Arabia can continue to sign some of the world's biggest football stars while implementing privatization and other huge reforms off the field, the league will become the unquestioned center of the regional football world and one of the best globally, for better or worse. So what do you think of today's video? Are you excited to see Saudi Arabia take great strides towards dominating global football by privatizing clubs and luring some of the world's biggest names into the Saudi Pro League? Or do you think Saudi Arabia deserves no plaudits because it is simply sports washing to distract from its human rights record? Let us know what you think in the comments section below, and as always, do subscribe to the New Africa channel for more interesting future videos.